Hey everybody, welcome back for part 2 of story time, my labors. So if you watched the first one, you heard me say how easy Milo's labor was. Now with Elijah, I was 42 weeks pregnant when I got induced. And that's because we were talking about getting induced and I was considered high risk because high blood pressure and hypertension and all that. But I was like waiting because I was like, I want to just go into labor. Like I wanted to experience that, and it didn't happen. I ended up getting induced. So I went at like 5 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday, December 2nd. Okay. Cause that's his birthday. And I went in and the shift switch for the nurses was at 6 a.m. So I went in at 5. They sat me in the bed, but they didn't do anything. They didn't start the Pitocin, they didn't anything. And this time they didn't try to soften my cervix. I don't know why, but they went directly to Pitocin. So when the new nurses switched, they were like, why haven't you gotten started? I was like, I don't know. And the first nurse was like, oh, we're gonna wait for the anesthesiologist because you want the epidural. Because let me tell you guys, more power to you if you want a natural birth. I'm not that person. Like me in everyday life, the most I'll take is Tylenol, but when I'm having a baby, I want drugs. Sorry, not sorry. So she was like, oh, the anesthesiologist will come and she's going to give you the epidural before we start the Pitocin so you don't feel anything. And I was like, you're the nurse. Okay, cool, And so the shift change comes and they were like, what the fuck? No, we don't do that. And I'm like, so she said, And so they started my Pitocin and it started pretty quickly. They started my Pitocin at 8 in the morning. Yeah, 8-ish. Because I was in labor 9 hours and I had him at 4:11 in the afternoon. So maybe 7:30. I don't know, about 9 hours I was in labor from when they started Pitocin. So with Elijah, they started the Pitocin and then they had to break my water because it wasn't breaking. So when they broke my water, he had pooped inside, which is really bad because it can go in their lungs. It can that's really bad if they swallow it, so they saw that he pooped, so they're starting to flush out my hoo-ha. They're flushing it out to get all the poop out, so that there's nothing there. And then the doctor was like, he might be the wrong way. And I was like, okay. So she's trying to turn him and she's like, I think he's the right way now, if you, and I'm talking about when they try to turn them, they are arms deep, this much of her arm is up you to turn, physically grab the baby and turn it. Okay. It's not just oh, we're just gonna, no, whoosh, like that. Okay, guys. So she was trying to turn him. She's like, okay, I think he's turned. I was like, okay, perfect. The contractions started getting more intense. I waited a little bit longer to get my epidural this time because I was like I slept most of the last time. It's gonna go quick, so let me just, I got time. No, the contractions were death. So the anesthesiologist comes, she gives me the epidural. She's like, okay, it takes 30 minutes to work full, because I was like, I don't feel it. Last time I felt it right away. I was like, I don't feel it. She's like, okay, give it a little bit of time. So 30-45 minutes go by and I only feel it on the right side of my body, half of my body. And I call her back and I was like, half of my body I feel like I'm gonna die, half of my body I can't feel. So she gives me a express in the IV, a booster or whatever, and I go completely numb. I cannot feel anything at all whatsoever. Cannot feel my body. And last time, I could put my legs up. I could bend my knees. Even though I was numb, I could still move. this time I could not move. Okay, so one of the nurses had my right leg and my husband had my left leg, and one of the nurses was talking to him, so he turned and my leg was like propped up, like, you know, like my knees were up, and he let go and my leg fell off the bed and I started going off the fucking bed. Like I couldn't stop myself. Like I was literally falling off the bed, and they were like, oh my God, like, and they all like put me back on. I can't move. Like I can only move my arms, but like from boobs down, I literally could not feel anything. So that happened. And so I was pushing for like an hour, almost an hour and a half. And you know, my poor doctor, Dr. Fezzi, I love her. She's an angel. She was saying like, you know, are you sure last time, you know, it was only 20 minutes. She's like, you know, sometimes labor, you know, you don't realize how long you're in there. And I'm like, no, like I pushed for 20 minutes. And then she was like, okay, like something's not, she was talking to me through. The last doctor I had didn't tell me anything. They kept everything a secret. I liked it because it was my second birth, so I kind of knew what was going on. She was like, okay. She was like, I see why they did an episiotomy last time. She was like, you're going to get another one, okay? And I was like, okay. So then she did it. And then she's like, okay, we're going to try the VBAC, which is where they vacuum the head and try to pull the baby, because he was like not coming out. He was there, but he just wasn't coming. And she is like telling me to push, but I can't feel anything. So she's like, push, and I'm trying to push. And she's like, you're not doing anything. So she's like, okay, I only have 2 times to do this VBAC. She was like, if it doesn't work, like you're going to emergency C-section right now. She's like, so we're going to try it one more time. And she was like, or in the next like minute, we're going to C-section. As soon as she said that, because the baby's heartbeat was dipping. So Elijah's heart kept on dipping every contraction because he was like stuck, you know? And like, I think I'm pushing, but I'm not really pushing, you know, because I can't feel my legs. And then she's trying to vacuum it out, and then his heart is still dipping, and they think he ate poop, and like just all this shit. My blood pressure's going crazy. So literally she was like, in the next minute, we're going to C-section. And I don't know what the fuck came over me. I don't know, because I'm so scared of like surgery. I was like, okay. And I pushed with everything in me, like in my being, and he came out in that one push. In that one fucking push, he came out. And he came out, they immediately took him. They had 3 nurses for him. They had nurses for me because of my blood pressure. And she is like taking him there. I'm like waiting for that cry. He cries, they bring him to me. And while she's stitching me up, because you know, an episiotomy, she was like, all I had to say was we were going to take you to a C-section for you to push. And I was like, I can't feel my legs. I was like, she like, everyone was I was laughing, she was laughing, because it's like I was pushing for an hour and a half, and as soon as she said we're going to C-section, I was like, fuck that shit. No, we the fuck are not. Pushed him out, 1 push, done. And so even now when I see her, because I go get a depot shot every 3 months, and I see her, she's like, Maria, like, you know, it's like, I don't know if it was because I was so scared, but after Elijah's labor is not easy. It was not fun. Like, I was very lucky with Milo's labor, because I was like, this, not that it's like a walk in the park, but I'm like, it's easy. Like, it's a lot easier than people were telling me. And that's why if you're pregnant, don't ask people their birth stories, because you might get that one person. Because when I was a hairstylist, so many people, like, they see I'm pregnant, they're like, oh my God, my labor was 48 hours. And then they had to fucking do a C-section, and then I almost bled to death. And like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that it's a magical, beautiful experience, and you wish me the best. That's it. So, after Elijah's labor, it's a no-go. Me and my husband decided we're not having any more kids, because I love my kids. I hate being pregnant. So the pregnancy is what really, to me, is like, fuck no. But then after Elijah's labor, and like me, like so many nurses rushing in to take him and to make sure like he's okay, and his heart's beating and his lungs aren't filled with fluid and everything, like after that feeling of like helplessness, I physically will not have any more children. So with pregnancy and that feeling, like I'm good. love my kids, but I'm not having any more. So thank you guys so much for watching my part 2 of my birth stories. I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.